how do we do this? We do this by an individualized search for every job seeker. They're not gonna get blast emails of positions that don't meet their skill set or experience or anything like that, which is extremely frustrating. I just met with a job seeker last week who had been an exec admin her entire life, and she received an email that said, "We found your dream job," and it was for a CDL driver, and she's like, "What the heck?" We also provide excellent customer experiences by helping every job seeker put their best foot forward. How do we do this? We do this by interview prep. Every interview they go on, they're going to get on the phone with me or another recruiter and prepare for this interview. We're going to send interview confirmations, we're going to send start confirmations, anything that they need will be provided to them. We also, the Dawson difference, we have industry specialized employment professionals. So the creative division, they've worked in the retail industry. Everyone on my team was either in the hospitality industry, so we've all worked in customer service. And we need to sell ourselves as the employment experts in Columbus because we are. Additionally, we have the Talent Rooster resumes, which are super cool and allow the job seeker to showcase their excellent communication, their professionalism, all of that. Also, we do have basic office testing that we provide, which hopefully they only complete once, but versus completing an application or testing for every position, every company that they apply for outside of Dawson. Lastly, we have the Dawson bus. So if job seekers cannot come to us, we will come to them. And I'd just like to end with a quote by Simon from the video, if you guys watched it. It said, "If you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire them because they believe what you believe, they'll work for you with blood and sweat and tears." Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Bernadette on job placements? I feel like we all pretty much know what that is, so thank you. Our next line of business is HR Management Solutions, which also impacts several core functions of our business, including on-site management programs at Lulu and L Brands. But the other part is the MSP side. And I've asked a few colleagues, Sarah Hines and Audrey O'Brien, from this team to join us to talk about MSP and compliance services.
My heart rate really started to rise during that. So I'm going to basically go over kind of the wheel that's in your book, if you wanted to refer to that, and kind of hopefully give you a better understanding of MSP and what we actually do. When Catherine asked me to do it from the perspective of the job seeker, that's actually quite a challenge for us. So I just wanted to kind of acknowledge that from the start. I think our division is a lot more client focused versus job seeker focused. Because for the majority of us on our teams, and I'm going to talk in more detail about this, we aren't recruiting directly for those positions. We're working with agencies, Dawson is included in that group, to find the best fit for a job opening that someone gives us. So just wanted to kind of start off with that. So over the last year, I think it's a year, we couldn't quite remember, we've transitioned from being known as the healthcare division to MSP. All of our clients, as I'm sure you realize, are still healthcare systems or hospital systems, but definitely the shift better encompasses all of the things that we do as a team. So the why, that was kind of what the TED Talk had us focus on. The why is easy for us, and again, related to the fact that our clients are still hospital systems, the why is the patients and their families to some extent. Everything we do is centered around patient care and the belief that the patients are more than just the illnesses that they are dealing with. They deserve to be treated with compassion and respect, and by placing the most qualified job seekers, we ensure the quality of patient care. And it truly drives every single decision that we make. So what we do and how we do it is how we accomplish our why. So I want to talk about those things. In the simplest terms, we work as an extension of human resources. I think a lot of you know that not all of us are on site here at Dawson. We are physically working at the hospital systems where we are, and in most cases we're sitting in the human resources departments of those hospitals. We're almost fully integrated. We wear their badges, we have their emails, things like that. One of the the most probably, well, the biggest part of our business is that we select the most qualified job seeker for openings identified by our clients. These are most often temp roles, and a lot of them are going to be nursing roles, so nursing contracts. Bob is in the room, Larson's in the room, Abby's in the room. So this is the type of job that those people do on our team. We partner with dozens of agencies, and I did say that Dawson is one of them. For the clinical roles, however, Dawson is not one of those people. And I think that's been touched on before, that we can't place people in clinical roles, like nursing roles. We do remain vendor neutral, though, when it comes to our partnership with our hospital systems and the agencies that we work at. So what happens is, like, I'm going to give an example. A nurse, like say at Riverside on the critical care unit, determines that they have a need for a 13-week contract for a night shift nurse. That position goes through all the approval processes, and it reaches Bob's desk. Bob places an order in TempWorks. If you've been around long enough, you've probably used TempWorks. I know you all use Bullhorn now, but we still use TempWorks. Bob opens an order in TempWorks, and immediately that goes out to all of the agencies with whom we have a contract. The agency then attaches nurses to that order. Bob goes through those profiles and selects the most qualified, writes up a little summary on that person, attaches their profile, and gets it back to the nurse manager. The nurse manager is it most often just a phone interview type with that?
Most frequently, if they're local, they'll sometimes ask where we've had something.
Right, so they'll interview or screen the people and then select the most qualified one, and then that person is brought in as a temporary associate at one of our hospital systems. Bob is also then responsible for onboarding that person during the orientation and all of those things. So that's one kind of line of business and how it relates to the job seeker. We also payroll temporary staffing identified by our clients. So another example, well, a good example of this would be the manager of talent acquisition at Ohio Health. A lot of times the recruiters she uses on her staff, she brings in on a temporary basis initially before she hires them into a permanent role. So a lot of what we do is payrolling those people and making sure they're compliant. And Audrey's going to talk about that here shortly, so I won't go into detail on that side of things, but Audrey will. And then a large part of what we do is on-site management of our clients' associates. You might have heard us talk about the float pools. This is perhaps where we are the most job seeker focused. So Jamie, myself, and Vivian all do this one part of Vivian's job, but it's entirely Jamie's and my job. We manage Ohio Health Associates. So we have actual openings at ohiohealth.com. That are out there, that are managed by us, but again, the people are employed by Ohio Health. We have dozens and dozens of people applying to those openings. We're solely responsible for going in and screening those people, and again, finding the most qualified applicants for the jobs that we hire for. One example, I do imaging, so that's going to be like rad techs, MRI, CT, sonographers, that type of person. They're going to apply to my openings. I screen them, get them interviewed by an actual medical imaging manager at Ohio Health so that they can make sure they have the clinical skill set that we desire. And then I physically make the offer and hire them into the system. And then on the flip side of it, I'm their manager after that process. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for us. We're doing all of their timekeeping, all of their performance management, you name it, we're responsible for it. Another part of what we do, and it's reflected on the color wheel there, is HR consulting. It's not uncommon for Nancy to be consulted with by our hospital systems for different policies and procedures and things that they might be looking to revamp. She's definitely known as an expert in the field. And then the last thing, and this is also something that's pretty job seeker focused, would be outplacement services. Several years ago, Ohio Health changed the medical records system that they used, and during that process, they used a lot of what were called provisional associates. So these are Ohio Health associates, a lot of whom we managed, but there was a definitive beginning and end to what their work was, and at the end of that assignment, we were integral in finding those job seekers new roles at Ohio Health. So that was a huge, just a huge part of what we did and a really good example of how we interacted with the actual job seekers. So just to kind of, that's us in a nutshell, and I hope you maybe have a better understanding. But when a client hires us to do this, they're reducing their risk, they're reducing their spend, they're reducing their time, all of these things are outlined in that book. And just hope that we're creating more efficient processes for them, because some things are just challenging when systems are that big. You're up.
I'm Audrey O'Brien. I'm a compliance coordinator, and what that basically means is I'm the person that makes sure that your job seeker is qualified for that position. We do this because we want to keep our clients safe. So far those have been hospital systems. It's not only those, but we'll get them as we go. But I also want to keep your job seekers safe as well. And by going through the compliance process, this is their opportunity, that job seeker, and yours as well, to make sure that they are going into a safe environment. This will, all of these requirements that we make them do include a background check, drug screen, immunizations, so making sure they've had their MMR and chickenpox, as well as any certifications that they need, or licenses. So if it's in a hospital or a care setting, this can include making sure they have their CPR card, making sure if they are a nurse, that they have their nursing license. We never want anybody to not be working with a license, to be working without a license. But if it's in a warehouse setting, it could be a forklift driver. They have to be licensed, making sure that they have that license as well. We do all this, like we said, to make sure that everybody is safe. If your job seeker is placed in a admin position, and they go in, while they might not be in a clinical setting, they could be meeting with a manager that has come from a hospital, from a clinical setting. And if they are not immune to, say, the measles, it's possible that that manager, if they bring anything in with them, that they could pick it up. It's also possible that that manager could take anything back to the unit. And as Sarah said, our priority is always, at least with the hospital, our patient safety, employee safety. We don't want anybody picking anything up that they shouldn't, especially right now, so there's a measles outbreak everywhere. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but that's our best example for it. These requirements and standards have come from credentialing bodies. So the Joint Commission is one of those, as well as, have you guys heard of Medicare and Medicaid? So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, they also have standards that we have to meet. It's a list of different things. And if any of those governmental bodies or credentialing come into the setting that we are in, they can essentially walk down a hall, point to anybody with a badge, say, I want to see their file. It doesn't matter to them if that person is a permanent employee of the client, if that person is a volunteer, or if that person is contract staff. And we know that our clients are really good at making sure that their employees meet all the standards that they're supposed to. They're also really good at making sure that if they have an MSP, that those guys are covered as well. Those contractors, vendors are covered as well. But there is a group of people that our clients have recognized as being not monitored quite as well as they should. I'm going to call those contractors for this reason. And finding that group of people, they brought it to us to make sure that that group meets the same standard as everybody else. And these can be nutrition services, which is a fairly entry-level position. It can also be janitors. It can be nurses. It can also be IT. So we have Fresenius, which is dialysis nurse. There's also tech systems in Insight Global. There are a lot of other ones that they have found that were brought on in one-off positions that may not have met the compliance requirements that the hospital or the client has set up. So compliance services, which is what I do all day, every day, is making sure that that group of people meet the client standards. And this can be by working with a job seeker that has been placed. Individually, making sure that they have the compliance done, It can be working with their main company, their HR person, and making sure that their compliance is done. It can also be going to them and completing an audit, going through all of their contractor files and making sure that everything's done. So the job seeker, or as an agency that works with us, this would be, so if you were their agency, I would work with you. So I would reach out and say, Larson, we have your person being placed on site. These are all the things that need to be done. And like I said, we do this to make sure that the patient is safe, that our client is safe, and that your job seeker is safe. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Hopefully not.
You stole my line. No one has any questions for Sarah or Audrey, correct? Okay. Our last line of business is our newest line of business, which is our community workforce programs. Another one of our senior recruiters and our newest SME member, Erin George, is going to present on this topic. She's also a passionate advocate for this line of business. So, welcome, Erin.
Hi everybody. So I'm here to tell you about why workforce development is important. So basically we're just finding students and parents and job seekers in the community who are already committed to being better workers and better people every day. So we reach out to certain groups of people and basically educate them on what we do and why we do it. And that starts with faculty. So those are teachers. Teachers are the #1 resource for the students that we're reaching out to, and it's kind of crazy how much they don't know about what's to come for their students. You know, I was actually at a resume workshop at Delaware Area Community Center a couple weeks ago now. I'm going back tomorrow, so I was looking at all of these resumes and seeing what these students had written, and every single resume followed the exact same format. Word for word, it had the exact same information. And so I asked the teacher afterwards, did you go on Word and find this document and just give it to them? And they were like, yeah, I thought that was the best place to do it. It's like, okay, well, it's a great start, but you know, things have kind of evolved since then, and there are lots of different ways to do this. My favorite was, you know, having the pictures on the resume, so love that. But then next, we talked to the students. So it's about educating them and letting them know that not necessarily college is the next step for everybody. You know, there are so many opportunities and careers that kids can go into without that degree. And you know, so many places are offering these awesome programs, like Delaware Area Career Center. I'm just blown away by this place. So I'll have a lot of examples. But kids can go to the zoo and study zoology in this career tech program. And it's just like, some of these opportunities just are so incredible. And me, myself, in high school did broadcasting because I wanted to be a news reporter. And standing in front of all of you, I know that would have never worked, but it is an opportunity. And you know, it gives these kids a chance to understand what there is out there before actually having to make that crucial decision of, oh my gosh, what am I going to be for the next 60 years of my life? So we offer them resume workshops, we do interview prep lessons, and it takes the pressure off of them, you know, instead of being in the pressurized situation of, oh my gosh, if I mess this up, I'm going to miss out on this job. So it gives them that opportunity to ask questions. And I had a kid come up to me and I sat down and, you know, we were in an interview situation, shook his hand and he said, okay, I have questions. I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to ask questions here. But it was just funny because they don't know, you know, and they have a lot of questions. So secondly would be college. So students in college, and that can be traditional students in college, or you know, you have the untraditional students who are, you know, veterans or just people who are a little bit more mature. And you know, we offer them a lot of different opportunities as well. There's a crazy statistic, like 90% of students in college are working, and I mean, everyone I knew in college was working, they had a job. I had multiple jobs in college, and of course it's just plain money, but, I mean, we have to have jobs, you know, in college if you're not being supported by your parents. So, for those students, we help them many different ways, you know, with job fairs and kind of getting them in that next process for the job placements. But we also offer Career Kickstart. I don't know how many of you are super familiar with the specifics, but basically it's for everybody in college, which I recently learned. I thought it was just the colleges that we're partnered with, which are, you know, Columbus State, Ohio Dominican, Ohio Christian, but those are actually just the colleges that help us kind of promote this program, but it's anyone in college. And as long as they are committed to 6 credit hours and they're working 20 hours a week, it's a 2-semester commitment, but they get $500 per semester. And that's so helpful for books or, you know, lodging, anything like that. So if you guys know of any places, I've gotten most of my contacts from job fairs, and it's just, you know, people walking up and saying, hey, I've heard about Dawson, what are, you know, some of the things that you offer? I'd love to make that relationship. So if you ever know of anybody, send them our way. Always trying to make new relationships. And then lastly is just the parents and the community workers. So by reaching out to those students, hopefully we're making a big enough impact that we're touching the parents as well. And we offer things like community career nights, community readiness programs, and career transition programs, which are also very important because think about the person who is in their mid-50s who's been working the same job for the last 30 years, and all of a sudden their company goes under. And they've not had to interview, they've not had to write a resume, some don't even know how to type, you know, when they come to me, and it's so important to help them, especially when, I mean, that's probably the most uneducated class of people, you know, when we speak broadly, because they have no idea how the job placement and job seeking has evolved in the last, you know, gosh, 5 years, let alone 30. So it's a really important place to start. So I want to ask, how many people in this room on a daily basis or a regular basis ask for help? Yeah? Okay, okay. So how hard is that for you to do? Okay, that's good.
It's gotten easier.
Okay,
Starting out, it was not easy to ask for help.
good.
And I
And
bet you need it.
we're all pretty lucky because we work with so many great people who don't make you feel like it's not okay to ask for help. But when our job seekers come to us to ask for help, they're in their most vulnerable time. And it's hard to ask for help because you are vulnerable. You know, you're admitting that you can't do this on your own. So when people come to us, they're already behind, and it's our job to catch them up. So by developing a solid workforce development program, we're bringing the help to them, and we can prepare them for what's to come and what's to expect. And it improves the workforce for not only us, but for our employers as well. So it's lucrative for Dawson because it improves the chances of the job seeker getting and keeping the position. And, you know, they'll also be educated on what's to be expected when they come to us. So how to write a resume, how to interview, that giving a 2-week professional notice is actually expected, you know, when you're going to keep a good bridge there if you ever need anybody again. So they will have the confidence needed during that job seeking time and in their most vulnerable times, and that'll be because of us. So we are the resource that they should use because by the time that they start job seeking, they'll have already received the education about why, how, and what we do. It's, to quote you, we're a one-stop shop. You know, they come to us, they get all of the necessary education that they need, and then we help them find positions because we have so many great clients that they wouldn't have access to already. So as Simon Sinek says, you know, the great Simon Sinek, great companies don't hire skilled people and motivate them. Great companies hire motivated people and inspire them. So it's our job to educate and inspire people to be better and to be better workers every day. And by doing that, Dawson will not only build better workers, but will improve our already incredible relationships with our clients. And it's very easy to trust a company who understands the why and what we do.
Does anyone have any questions for Erin on our last line of business? Okay. Next, we are going to divide up into pairs of 2 or 3. Play just a quick activity. I know, don't get all too excited. But I want you guys to each create in your groups an elevator speech on the line of business that you're least familiar with. So if you're currently doing job placements, do it on either MSP or HR management solutions or community workforce, and vice versa. So pick a line of business you aren't familiar with, create an elevator speech, and at the end of that 10 minutes, I'm going to ask for a couple of volunteers to come up and give those speeches. I will tell you our last presentation on Wednesday of last week did amazing, so no pressure, but definitely some pressure to create some amazing speeches on what we do here. And I'll give you guys about 10 minutes. So divide up, and I'm not going to divide you up, pick some people.
Unless you seek out vocational information, which
Wait, we don't decide. Okay, I'll be ready.
about the birthday?
Only 31.
All right, you guys ready? Almost. Okay, 2 minutes. I agree. There's some big shoes to fill. I had 3 really good elementary teachers. I don't know about that, but I think we have some overachievers in the room. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, does anyone want to volunteer before I start taking on people that I've committed to listening to?
I'll volunteer because I know you're gonna pick me anyway. So,
Bridget, tell us what line of business.
This is community workforce programs, and we said,
what you did too?
Right, we're up against Bridget.
oh God, don't make it a competition. Our community workforce programs create a stronger talent pool for Dawson recruiters and hiring partners in the Columbus region. We educate and prepare high school students, college students, parents, and job seekers in the current job market and career development.
You win, Bob.
Bob. Okay, Sean, you're going to your turn. Don't get too excited.
So we also did community workforce programs, and we kind of segued into talking about when we were all in school, what options did they give you? They gave you basically college prep, college tech, or go to the military, was pretty much it. But there's a million options, you know, so they would have told you could get a 2-year degree, become a rad tech, and then make $60,000 out the gate, and travel to Hawaii and work for 13 weeks and somewhere else. Some of us might sign up now. So we said for community workforce programs, you have options. Dawson will give you and your educators the resources and tools that employers want and need. We'll prepare you for success in the present and the future in the industry that will afford you the option to excel personally and professionally.
Oh, I love that. All right, guys. Good job. Who else wants to go? Yeah. Sean?
Come on, Sean.
Follow that.
Yes.
Oh.
You promised.
All right, Bob, I guess I gotta take you down. Well, it was me and Jeff on our team. Okay. I want to let y'all know, out the gate, it was me and Jeff. And we wrote down, we're doing the HR Management Solutions, Dawson MSP.
We have nothing written
I was
in
here.
there.
That's what we did.
Our managed services provides team is an extension of your HR team. We can partner with you to reduce risk, time spending, and increase engagement among your associates. Boom!
Anyone else? Now that's an easy act to follow. Does anyone else want to share theirs? Okay. Oh my gosh. Come on up.
Oh gosh, okay.
Our newest Dawson team member.
Thank you, yes, thank you. We also did community workforce. We are the employment experts. We work with students and job seekers from middle school to retirees to successfully prepare them for their future. Thank you.
You guys, everyone did so great. much for participating. I really think this is a great exercise. So thank you again for taking time out of your day to spend time in this class and learn more about what we do and why we do it. If you have any feedback, let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much for attending and have a great day. Vivian, do you have a question?
Just thank you for all your work in putting this together. It's really been fun to get everybody from Dawson, just nothing, just not one group. So thank you for all your